Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome into episode number 56 of our WWE 2021 Save and TEW 2020. This is our state of WWE for November 2021. And yes, it is Survivor Series month here as we are starting the road to Survivor Series. We've already started that on Raw. Now after No Mercy, we start that for SmackDown. And so yeah, lots of fun stuff in the works for that show. But let's start here, as usual, with our state of WWE. As we look at sort of our size overall, we have grown again in terms of our overall popularity and everything. Gone up to 79. We can see in a couple different regions here, 78 elsewhere. We are going to hit big after the next 33 days. Of course, we fell into the cooling down period the first couple weeks of the series, and we've been in that for that 6-month stretch now. So we will jump up to big unless we just have some terrible shows over the next month or so. I don't expect that, but we'll see. So that's where we're at size wise right now. If we look at next our creative, we'll get the popularity in a bit. We can see here that The Rock's at the top, of course. Cena's still there. Brock, who we've talked about, not really anything in the works right now for Brock. That may change, but we'll see. Still your usual 5 here in this. I teased it in No Mercy when we brought back the Iconics. Peyton Royce is in our next big things categories, even though she's not going to single-handedly sell out arenas, draw millions of dollars. But she has a lot of upside, could be a valuable member of the roster. So I mentioned, that has been something that I find intriguing, so maybe there's something we can do there. I am not going to click on Hot Prospects because I had to make sure there is someone in there that I don't necessarily want to spoil right now, and so I'm not going to click on that one. The usual talk the talk here. Let's see. We talked about it on our last State of WWE. It was the first time, or maybe it's been a couple months now, but we've had 5 people here that have, kind of hit that, can do no wrong. Basically, the white hot, whichever one's the highest. We've still got that going here, and it's pretty much the same people, I think, and maybe a little bit of a different order. I think Cesaro's moved up a little bit from where he was, but as we can see, Roman Reigns still at the top. But Cesaro has moved into this, ton of momentum right now. Drew the same way, Big E, Bianca, sort of the people you would expect to be on this list based on how we booked them. But it is noteworthy to kind of see that they still have all this momentum right now. On where they are, especially Cesaro, because he has been someone we featured quite a bit and really put in those prominent sort of matches, the match against Edge for the title and all that. So that is good to note. Still the same 2 here, Jeff Hardy and The Miz. Of course, The Miz is now back. We will try to change that after he's just had no momentum. He's been sidelined, but we will try to change that moving forward there for The Miz. All right, so there's that. Quickly, we look ahead at our upcoming schedule. You know what's next. Survivor Series will be next. And, it's going to be a big show. And then after that, soon we will announce the Mae Young Classic Tournament bracket for our 2-night extravaganza that will take place in December, week 2. Our plan right now is to announce that after SmackDown. So we'll have our Raw for week 1 November, SmackDown week 1 November. And then the plan is to announce the Mae Young Classic bracket in a separate video on its sort of a standalone episode. So that is our plan at the moment. And we will probably try to stick to that. And if you kind of look at where everything else is right now, storyline wise, we go down our list here. Alexa, Bianca, that was doing well. Big E, you can kind of just look at the numbers on these. Baszler Neville, that's been a work in progress, but it's still 52, so not bad. This is now our top storyline from a heat standpoint with Drew McIntyre and Bray Wyatt. It is now up to an 85 after that big segment at No Mercy. And, of course, the announcement for the Hell in a Cell match at Survivor Series between those two. Kevin Owens, 67 there. The Raw Women's title triangle, 76. Roman Reigns would jump back down to 81. That was a 90 going into No Mercy, but the reason why I think is because that last segment with Rock and Priest didn't do great. The match itself didn't do perfect, but it will kind of go up and down as we know based on. And remember too, we also had the Jimmy and Jay stuff added in for the storyline because I didn't want to put it into a separate storyline. We just kind of left it into this. So that brought this one down a little bit. In hindsight, maybe I changed that a little, but I have no concerns that this will jump right back up to the pretty high heat level with that. But you can see this sort of sticks out like a sore thumb with these 60s among all of the 80s and 90s and that. So yeah, it kind of is what it is on that. But IC Championship here, that is actually up to 72. So after that match, that did well. Lucha Bros, the Rated RKO's 82, and Sami Zayn's at a 77. So that's, those storylines, certainly we have new storylines introduced after No Mercy, but that just kind of gives you an example of where things are at on that. I looked at the titles. There's really nothing of significance there to even, spend our time on with that, but everything's just kind of about what you expect. All right, let's go to the fun part. Let's look at the roster and our popularity ratings. Heading into this month of November, we've branded it just with a raw roster here. We look at some random ones. Adam Cole at 57. That's what I was kind of telling you guys when we did do the reforming of the Bullet Club. Adam Cole's just not very over, and one of the reasons why we looked at it is because he lost a lot of matches in NXT, and it involved the 2003 Triple H running wild, as we talked about in No Mercy. So we've got to get that up a little bit for Adam Cole, and that will just happen just by him being associated with the storyline he's associated with now. But you can see that NXT did him no favors in terms of getting him over. We look at Styles here. He's kind of back in the 70s if we track his progress. He's gone up and down, but we certainly, as you know, are kind of positioning him as a very tip-top star right now. With that, Angelo Dawkins at 55 overall. That's an interesting one. He has been involved in a lot of stuff. He's gone up a little bit since we started. So that's noteworthy. Bayley, she's almost about to hit that 70 mark. Her popularity has also kind of stayed the same last month. She didn't have a lot to do last month, and I know it kind of went down from where it was, but keep in mind, she really did not do a whole lot, and so that was intentional, and that may be something that we'll see here moving forward. But Big E is now up in the 80s here. This is beautiful to see with Big E making more moves here. So really, since we've started, you see how far Big E's jumped from last month. He did go up a notch and seemingly everywhere. So that is good to see. Who else? Cesaro, of course. His popularity is still at around a 75. But, I mean, when you compare that to where he was, kind of the same as it was last month. He jumped up a little bit in a few places. But, I mean, he's still about right where you think he should be at. Daniel Bryan, around an 84. I think he's dropped off from an 85 probably. We can look at that real quickly here. No, okay, so that's about right. He's stayed about the same for several months now, which is not surprising. I mean, he's still right up there. Dominic's an interesting one. You actually look at his ratings; they're not bad, but popularity-wise, he's kind of stayed the same. He's really gone down since last month, but he did lose some matches too. So, Edge, not much has changed. He's still at 85. That's where he was. Balor, similar to Cole, although he's much more over than Cole right now when you look at it from a rating standpoint. And yeah, I mean, it's, again, no favors in NXT for Finn Balor there with him. Let's see, anyone else? Kevin Owens, 80s. So if you compare that for Owens, he's also gone up from last month. So he's now pretty much 80 across the board. That is good to know. With that, Liv Morgan, 49. I'm not sure exactly how that compares to where she used to be. Okay, so that's a pretty big jump for Liv Morgan. Really, when you consider, from the start of the save to where she is now, 49, and last month jumping 5. But that is because they did get that big win over Bayley and Sasha in tag team action, so that was something. Here we go, Montez Ford, 60s here. Look at Montez. 50 when we started. He didn't really jump up much from last month, but still, he made that big jump from September and October. But I think it's only going to continue to go up here for Montez moving forward. Ali's about in the 50s still. Omos, here we go. Omos. You know what we're trying to do. This is certainly a project, but he did jump, up 4 from last month. We're building some momentum for him. Let's see if we can keep that going. We really needed to sort of hit that good point. Penta, 57s. Like I said, when we took them from AEW, we needed to really build up their popularity, and we did that last month. Seemingly a nice little jump here for them. on that. Randy Orton, I think Orton has literally stayed the same since we started the save. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. He has not jumped anywhere at all. So Orton's at 80 everywhere. Ray Phoenix, also kind of same situation as Penta. He's kind of in that upper 50s, low 60s. Ray Mysterio, same scenario there. Who else? Sasha, she's in the upper 60s. Got a 170 there. She's kind of stayed, kind of the same, but her, she's taken some losses too, so that's not surprising perhaps. Sheamus, 75s for him. I'm not sure exactly how that compares to the previous ones. Okay, so Sheamus has gone back up, so that's nice to see for him. Toni Storm, probably the other noteworthy one. She's got 150 here. Let's see how that compares. Oh yeah, so Toni Storm had a big October. As she goes up, of course she had the call up, got that win over Bayley and Sasha. That helped. So yeah, big boost for Toni Storm. Still a ways to go, but a big boost there. All right, let's now take this to SmackDown and look at our SmackDown brand. So what I'm doing here is, if there are any surprises, I have them as unbranded. That way you can't see them. Sorry, that's I got to be sneaky about that. Alexa, 64, loses to Bianca, but yeah, she's kind of stayed the same, so not much of note there. Apollo is an interesting one. We haven't done a whole lot with him since he lost the title, but he's not really losing that much from a popularity standpoint. Asuka's back. Not much to note there. She's kind of 69s across the board for Asuka for the most part. Bianca, she's boosted up to a 75 in the Great Lakes, 70 in Mid-Atlantic. So we can see that's continuing to progress there for Bianca. I'd like to see 70s across the board here. I think we'll do that this month probably. Bray, 79s. That is also something that I think is, so he's gone up gradually a little bit there for Bray. Anyone else? Oh, well, here we go. The big one. Here you go. So here it is. Damian Priest has hit the 70 mark in a lot of different places, and without question, as you can tell, we started in June. Damian Priest was a 48 overall across the board here. He has now jumped up into the 70s, 5-6 months later, whatever it is. So that is pretty remarkable in terms of what we've done. Of course, getting the pin in the main event at No Mercy, that gave him a huge jump from October to November. We can see here, this is something. So his in-ring stuff is not great, but, I think he has easily been the person that we've booked the best, clearly from a popularity boosting standpoint. He has just jumped up so much, and being associated, with The Rock and everything. And the thing is to note here is Priest is 39, so we kind of made this intentional from the start, knowing that he's almost 40, and he's I don't know. I don't think he's going to be in that tip top spot, for the next 10 years or anything like some of these younger guys. So we really wanted to make a move with him, and we have, and I'm glad it's paying off there with that. So Drew has jumped up to an 85, and this is noteworthy because Drew had been an 82, so he jumped up quite a bit from a lot of these segments. So he's right there in terms of the top stars in the company, as you would expect. But it is something to see, kind of this where it is versus this. So Drew is a lot of momentum heading into that potential match there. Elias in lower 50s, that's notable for our tag team that we formed there with them. Jeff, 60s overall, that's about the same as it has been. Let's look at the Usos. Jay has jumped up to a 70 here. I think that's probably a boost for him. So Jay has jumped up. That's good to see. Even though he lost the match to Jimmy, as we know, No Mercy, he jumps up. So that affiliation with Reigns is helping him. As for Jimmy, Jimmy's jumped up too. He's in the 70s, so multiple places. So the Usos are making their move in terms of popularity. Cena's at an 86. That's Cena. That's what you expect there for him. I don't think there's a lot that's changed on that. He was an 87, but whatever. He's still doing just fine. He's doing that. Zayn is still in the mid 40s. I'm not sure exactly. She just made the comeback, so no changes on that there. Keith Lee, lower 60s. I don't think he's jumped up too much. Yeah, it's it's a gradual process, I think, with Keith Lee. Otis, just for noteworthy, he's still in the mid 50s. So Otis, that tag team with Elias, could actually be decent from an overness standpoint. Whoops. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? I guess Ricochet is noteworthy. Let's see. So we look at Ricochet, and Ricochet 42 overall. I mean, that's what we were talking about. Like Ricochet's popularity is just it's gone nowhere. But I don't know, a lot of pre-show matches, a lot of random stuff. But we'll see if we can work on that. Over there, the head of the table has stayed the same pretty much our entire series here. He's not gone up or down. I think, depending on how this feud goes with Rock and those segments, maybe that raises him up a little bit moving forward. We'll find out. Sammy, 60s for him, upper 60s now. That's also a jump up, so moving in the right direction with Sammy. Joe in the lower 60s. Let's see here with Joe. Yeah, it's about the same, so he hasn't moved at all. Seth is now 80, pretty much almost across the board here. That's a significant jump up from the 75 that he was at last month, so big moves for Seth Rollins. Nakamura, mid-60s still, so he's doing okay. I wonder if that pin he took at No Mercy. Yeah, so it dropped him down a little bit, but that's okay. And then I guess really The Miz is the only other one that's of note. He's 70s everywhere. He doesn't have a lot of momentum, like we said, but my guess is The Miz's popularity will go up based on the storylines we have with him. So there is our popularity ratings for November. And if we look, I guess, at really the state of the game world right now, we can kind of, I guess, look at... I always click the wrong button there. You guys laugh at me. I know that I do this all the time. What am I looking at? Company Wars. That's what I'm looking for. AEW, our competition, if we look at their size, they're still not doing a whole lot. 62, so they haven't really made any moves whatsoever. I can't say I'm surprised by that, but I'm just kidding. New Japan, we look at their size. I'm curious about New Japan. So they're also not really making a whole lot of moves there. NXT, if you look at where things are at with NXT, I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but we did sign Nick Comoroto. I don't know if we ever even mentioned that. He was in AEW at one point. That was early in the save. I really don't know if we ever even mentioned it, but we did sign him. His contract, I think, expired with AEW. We brought him in. He's obviously not doing a whole lot right now, but that is noteworthy if you want to look at that. Size for NXT. So it's growing thanks to the growing ego of Triple H. That is helping clearly NXT right now. So, so that is something that is at least worth noting there. And I guess really, that's probably kind of the state of where things are right now. And, it's an interesting point because we are about to hit this stretch where we have Survivor Series coming up, then the Mae Young Classic. I always say like we're hitting another gear. I think this is where we start to hit another gear. Like, after No Mercy now, we really start to push things because probably over the next 6 weeks or so, we do have some of the biggest storylines we've done thus far in the series. And I think that's going to pay off with good ratings. We're going to make some more stars, I think, out of some of these people. And, I think the next 6 months, 6 weeks or so, 6 months too. I mean, we're building towards WrestleMania here. But there are going to be some pretty, some interesting storylines to say the least over the next 6 weeks or so as we build towards Survivor Series and the Mae Young Classic. So there you go. There is the state of WWE for November. And on the next episode, it will be the November Week 1 edition of Raw, which will feature several interesting matches. We've got Rey Mysterio versus Rey Fenix, a potential Kevin Owens U.S. title open challenge. Will it happen? Will it not? And we have, for the Raw Women's Championship, Bayley defending the title against Becky Lynch. A huge match there. So that is going to be our next episode. And then, like I said, it will be SmackDown after that. And then the official bracket reveal for the Mae Young Classic, the 2-night event in December. So I am really looking forward to that. So that is what's coming up next. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, happy holidays to everyone out there. Always enjoy the feedback. Always enjoy the conversation. And on the next episode, it will be the November Week 1 edition of Raw.